There's no answer. There's no motive. There's no understanding of why my wife and my child's mother was murdered.
Nearly a decade ago, a gunman in this pickup truck opened fire on a car along JFK in North Little Rock, killing Samantha Olson with her baby girl in the back seat. The mom's murder sent shock and fear through the streets of North Little Rock as police hunted a cold-blooded killer with seemingly no regard for life.
As days turn to weeks and months into years, one question lingers today. Who killed Samantha Olson? In an exclusive interview, Mitch McCoy's working for you. He traveled to the state of Washington, where Samantha's husband and daughter live today.
A little girl just turned 10 here in Washington state. Her father is about to have one of the most difficult conversations he's ever had. And it's about the time she was 11 months old back in Arkansas.
Dude, this thing is giant.
A child's curiosity and innocence.
Imagine if you could just like jump across to there.
Is something any parent would guard. As Linnea celebrates her 10th birthday, there's one person notably missing.
A single father. I remember not really knowing what direction things are going to go. What am I going to do?
Eric Olson, Linnea's dad.
Sometimes the little things she says are funny because it's like, wow, you're like, where did that come from? Because it was just like your mother.
Linnea's mom, 31-year-old Samantha Olson, died August 14th, 2013, right before Linnea's first birthday.
Pretty painful and difficult to think about a life that could have been like that to be just erased in an instant, and for what seems like no reason.
I was in the kitchen and I heard some gunshots.
Samantha driving on McCain near JFK.
Police say they do not know why someone opened fire on a woman in her car at a busy North Little Rock intersection.
Eric was at work when he got an urgent call to get to the hospital. When he arrived at the ER and the doctor's eyes filled with tears, he knew.
She told us that Samantha had been shot and killed, that she did not make it.
I can only imagine in that moment your world, because you also have a newborn.
Yeah, 11 months old. Like almost to the day, 11 months old.
As shots were fired into the car, Linnea stayed strapped in her car seat, escaping the gunfire. Her mom did not.
You know, how do you sleep? And I've got an 11-month-old child that's been a nursing infant. How do I get her to sleep?
It appears that it was random.
North Little Rock detectives quickly realized they had a brazen killer on the loose.
You know, that night we put people on trying to locate video.
Officers found this security footage of the suspect's truck. Police say they've interviewed some people, but what will it take to solve the cold case? Detective Gary Jones says if a second person witnessed the shooting from in or out of the truck, now's the time to step up.
The person with firsthand knowledge of it that will come in and speak to us and say, hey, this is what happened.
It's kind of indescribable how your world just comes crashing and collapsing in a moment like that.
Eric says to guard Linnea's childhood from that day, the two moved across the country.
The only way to move forward is to trust God. That your feet are going to land on dry land, and you're not going to be swept away. No matter how small or large the step you're taking is.
But someday he knows another big step must come. He's only ever told Linnea her mom died in a car crash, not she's the victim of murder.
That's pretty much the extent of the story that she's been given, and so far she seems content with that amount of information. She hasn't really pressed for any more details about what happened.
Eric is juggling the battle of time, when to tell his daughter the other half of Samantha's story.
She's a sharp, curious kid. The technology is there to Google things, to look them up, even innocently.
If your wife's killer were to somehow come across this, what would you want him or her to know about you and Linnea?
a tough question to answer. If they hear this, there's a little girl who never did anything to anybody. And when the day comes that I tell her what happened to her mom, she really deserves to know why. She deserves to know that that story was completely wrapped up. She deserves to know why her mother was murdered, who did it, and that justice is served.
As each day swings by, Eric prays the gunman comes forward. Not for him, but for Linnea.
She shouldn't have to carry into her life the burden of knowing her mother was murdered and having no idea why.
If you have any information about what happened to Samantha Olson that day, you're asked to call the North Little Rock Police Department. Reporting in Washington State, Mitch McCoy, back to you.
I want to recap some of this real quickly. Samantha Olson was shot and killed while driving on JFK and McCain in North Little Rock, August 14th, 2013. Police believe the suspect's vehicle is a 2004-2008 maroon Ford F-150 pickup truck. There is a $15,000 reward for any information that leads to an arrest and a conviction.